Do you struggle with making the progress you desire in your life? Whether that's living out your calling, conquering some bad habit, or just trying to lose a couple pounds to get in shape? Me too. But who would have thought that this tiny little thing would teach me nearly everything I was missing about making progress? But God has a way of making the humblest of things teach great wisdom. Here are 4 things that I've learned from seeds about making progress. Number 1, seeds don't grow if you don't plant them. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. But seriously, I've had this packet of bean seeds for years, and never once did any of the seeds spontaneously sprout or become bean plants. But if you take a few seeds and soak them in water for a few hours, and then push them into some soil, an amazing thing happens. They grow. Maybe you're thinking about learning to play guitar. You will never learn to play if you don't first buy one or ever practice it when you do. Just like in planting seeds, you have to get started to make progress. Number 2, we don't make seeds grow. There's a famous Bible verse. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither work nor do they spin. Yet I say to you that even Solomon in all of his glory was not dressed like one of these. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We can't make anything happen. Outcomes are up to God. God has set up the natural laws of this world, and He is responsible for the outcomes they produce. To improve the chances of receiving the outcomes I desire, I need to take actions in keeping with the natural laws God has put into place. I can buy fresh seeds, use high-quality soil, water them regularly, pull out the weeds, make sure they're getting enough sun, and fertilize them when needed. But God makes the seed to grow or not to grow, to flourish or not to flourish, and to produce fruit or not to produce fruit. No amount of effort on my part makes that happen, and thinking that we can is often a feeble attempt to think that we're God. And it robs us of the joy of working through the process. So take action in keeping with God's natural laws. Let go of the worry in trying to make something happen, and leave the timing and the progress to Him. Which brings me to number 3. Each seed and each plant has its own set of rules. Making progress toward your desired outcomes also has its own set of rules. Planting seeds usually results in a plant growing, but it's not only about putting them in the dirt that matters. They need other things too. For example, this. I did the same thing as before. I soaked the seeds in some water, I pushed them into some soil, but then they began to mold, and then they dried up when I decided not to water them anymore. Why? Because the seeds were from nearly 4 years ago. So while the seeds wanted to germinate, they were too old to make it to sprouting, so they began to rot in the wet soil. Then to add insult to injury, I stopped watering them, so even if they did, they would have never made it anyway. When we try to make progress in a particular area, say running a marathon, we cannot leave the running to the day of the event. No one doing that will ever finish a marathon. We might have to experiment and figure out which things work and which ones don't, and keep track of our progress, and make the changes necessary when it becomes clear that we need to do so. This is why people who want to run a marathon often get a coach the first time, because we need to understand the rules for our desired outcome of running a marathon. Does getting a coach guarantee that you'll make it? Nope. Nor does simply planting seeds. But learning and understanding the rules on how to make progress in the desired area we're looking into puts God's natural laws in our favor. Number 4, plants require consistent care. As you begin to understand and apply the rules that you're learning about your desired outcome, you need to keep at it. Plants require a lot of attention, and so does making progress. Failing to water them consistently or providing their other needs can hinder the growth of your plant. Done long enough, it will be disastrous for your plant. So we too need to build the muscle of consistency in order to make progress. This is simply honing all the skills necessary to make progress, day in, day out, doing the same thing over and over, and learning to get better along the way. If you're looking for a bountiful harvest, you need to plant a lot of seeds, fresh ones. You'll need to water them and give them the proper sunlight. You'll want to plant them in good quality soil. You might need to experiment and tweak the results to improve, and then do it again tomorrow. This is how making progress happens. It's deciding to start and working through the resistance of getting going. It's choosing to focus on actions in line with your desired outcome and leaving those desired outcomes up to God. It's learning the rules and experimenting and improving over time and doing it over and over again. I'm Jay, and this is Shackle Breakers. If you found this video helpful, would you take a moment and subscribe? And check out this video next.